Hey, good morning and afternoon and evening and tomorrow to our small, wonderful group who's here from all over the place. Christina Merkley, it's the public visual satsang. I'm going to bring up some slides just to set the scene. A couple of you haven't been here before. Let me get another person through here in a second. There we go. Okay, here comes Denise. Now, you should be seeing slides, hopefully, with the overview slide of the course. Next thing, this is number 59. So I've been doing these since the pandemic hit North America, kind of swept across a couple of years ago. So up to number almost 60 here. Oops, another person to get through the waiting room. We will start with 10 minutes of meditation, and then what will happen is we just spontaneously co-create together. I know some of you have been here before, so you know how it goes. Those of you who haven't, you'll see how it goes. After meditation, I'll pop up with a soft welcome, welcome to bring you back to this state and world. And reports, so if you've been here before, or maybe you haven't, but you know me, if there's any reports you want to give on how you are or how your personal growth is unfolding, you're welcome to share those. And then we look for arisings. And that's what's present now. This is a processing group. So what is kind of emerging in terms of things to process? We find our way every time. It's all voluntary, so you certainly don't need to process if you don't care to. When you watch and observe other people processing, you'll get parallel processing, hopefully, right? You'll get benefit out of it. You're also helping to hold space and hold the container. You can come and go however you like. I do ask if you leave, if you jot me a little note in the chat, just so I know that you're leaving in a happy state or whatever state, right? So sometimes, processing can create different kinds of triggers and different kinds of reactivity. So if you just let me know when you're leaving that everything's fine, then I don't have to make up stories in my mind about whether or not you're fine or not when you're leaving, and make sure that you are. So depending on what arises, that's how we'll co-build our agenda, right? Just hearing what's present in the container. Often there's piggybacking, which means that there's similar themes. It's kind of amazing how that happens. And so we might have a similar theme, or we might have really different things that are showing up here and being processed. All is welcome. But we'll find our way, and it's 2 hours-ish. Sometimes we go a little over. So when we come close, or a whole lot over. So if we come close to the end of the time, I'll alert us all, process-wise. Some will need to leave. I'll give you an opportunity to say goodbye. And if I am processing with somebody, making sure that person wants to and can continue, then we'll keep going into what's called bonus time. And you're welcome to stay or not, or do whatever you care to. The recording will still run during bonus time. I will turn the recording off at the very, very end. Occasionally, especially with people in the Shifting the Power course that I'm part of with Annika Lucas, they prefer to talk about things that process without a recording. So you can hang out till the very, very end. And if you want to talk about something off camera, we can certainly do it that way. Okay. The channel, like I said, these are recorded and they're put up onto YouTube. So I have a channel under there called Shift a Coach. I'd also direct you, just if you're looking for things to go along with your personal growth, there's a lot of recordings that have happened over the last couple of years, and just using your intuition to navigate through there. And parallel processing can happen that way too. Holistic, so left brain. I'm a longtime seasoned strategic planner and coach, so lots of good left brain, rational, linear stuff, but also obviously working visually, and then just highly intuitive, attract a lot of empaths. So the right brain is welcome here. We play with both and meet both, and there's a marriage of both. One way to reference that is non-dual or oneness. I am working visually most of the time. Near the end, we might not. but at least normally the first couple of folks that we process with, I will be working visually. The tool that I go to kind of just depends what's emergent in the group. Sometimes there's a pre-done template. I have about 40 plus of them. So I select from my little cache of templates depending on what's emerging, or we just work spontaneously from kind of blank paper off of the digital tablet. The ones in front of you are the core maps for my shifted visual coaching process, and then I have a gazillion others as well. And there is a page, I'm going to see if I can navigate my way here and put it in the chat for you. There is a page for this community with a selection of tools. Just make sure I send this to everybody in the meeting that exists, that are typical things that come up here in Satsang. So I just put that link that you see in front of you on the screen. I've put that link into the chat. If you do want to print off or put them on your digital tablet or something and play along as we're going, depending on what we use. And a couple of announcements. This is the public version of my Satsangs. I have a private one that we're in the midst of fulfilling right now. There's a new processing group coming with Annika Lucas, actually starting 2 days from now on Thursday, running for 10 sessions. And that group cohort is really coming together nicely. So you don't have to have done the Shifting the Power. I know several of you who are here have. Just like my Satsangs at Large, anybody can come to the online processing group with Annika as well. And you will learn as you go, just like you learn as you go as you drop into one of these, right? You'll see some of the maps and stuff being used with people, and parallel processing will happen. Of course, there's going to be more of a comfort level, and the left brain is going to be a little more oriented to things for people who have been there already for Shifting the Power, but we're keeping that open. And we will do another Shifting the Power, that full course in the fall. I haven't set the dates yet with Annika, but that's our intention, to do another Shifting the Power. And there'll probably be another processing group associated with that body of work as well coming. And I might as well go find that date, or not date, but link, and put that in the chat too. Okay, there it is. And given some of you may leave early, I always like to set the date for the next public visual satsang right here at the beginning. So the next one will be Monday, June 5th, and a little earlier. So sorry, those of you down under, that's not going to work so great for you, but I try to alternate times. So we spread it around depending on what's comfortable for people around the world. So the next one will be 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. my time, Pacific North America time. Just like you received today, you'll get reminders. You get a 2-week reminder, a week before, day before, an hour before. You'll get these reminders. And, it's just very spontaneous. Come as you like. Not all dates might suit your schedule. So if anybody has any questions about process, hopefully I've covered it, but that gives you a sense of the container.
Do you need to register for the next one, or does it just...
Oh, thank you for asking. Yeah, once you're on the list, you're on the list. But if you have Gmail accounts in particular, you'll probably want to get us into whichever folder you're going to see on a regular basis, because Gmail tends to stick us in the promotions folder. So you may miss those reminders if you're not looking in there on a regular basis. Yeah. But no, just a one-time registration, and then you're on the list. Yeah. And you can unregister at any time too if you don't want to be getting them. Also, the follow-up happens because you're on that list. We'll send out the follow-up to you, the recording and any maps that are produced. Yeah. Okay. So with that, I'm going to stop the share. We all know which container we're in here. And so now we're just going to segue into meditation. I'm going to set my timer with my private group. This week, I forgot to set my timer. Get a little lost in stillness. It's so nice sometimes to get in there. Because I say we're going to meditate for 10 minutes. I also want to, of course, give options because sometimes meditation isn't comfortable for people, or anything that helps you align, right? So anything that brings calmness or peace. It could be drawing. It could be listening to some music. Could even be getting out and have a little walk in this 10 minutes, right? The point is to just something that's self-nurturing, something that's brings you into the now and kind of lets you let go of whatever you've been in the midst of. So whatever that might be for you, that's certainly welcome here as well. And I will sit here and meditate though. Okay. So 10 minutes, and then I'll pop back up with a welcome, and then we'll see here what's in the container and we'll co-create together. Thank you. Hey, welcome. Just make our segue to the group again. And then when anybody is ready, you can just feel free to unmute. It happens in whatever order it wants to, but any reports or any hellos, check-ins, and then also what's arising. What do you notice is present that we might focus on today? I think all can get a sense what a big deal that was. And those with shifting the power will know some further context. Yeah, to know that's a really, really big deal. So wonderful to see you. Wonderful to hold space. Because yes, you're often holding space. You're so present there reading and poking up peekaboo. So how nice to have the peekaboo extend to this. Amazing. Across the world. Woohoo. So in a piece of work that's a piece that just happened here with what Linda brought in here, right? So we just take a moment and just kind of feel that there's already Laura Lee's, the beaming that's happening, right? We often do what's already naturally happening here is you use the chat if there's anything that you want to say about a piece of work that happened or parallel processing, because, you know, these things are very universal that we each bring, right? So, and then we just kind of come together as a group and just see what wants to unfold now. So there may be reports, or there may be a report that segues into some processing like we witnessed with Linda. So anything is welcome. Angelina's saying wonderful work. Yes. Yes to that.
Well, I was thinking about speaking your truth. That's one that came up to me. Yeah, speaking your truth. I'm trying to speak my truth.
I was going to ask, yeah, there must be a reason why the zeroing in. Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
So a big old yes, please to that.
Yeah. Yeah. And not getting stifled when I'm trying to speak my truth.
Yeah, no thanks to stifled. Yeah.
No. Because I feel it's time for me to be who I am. And I'm not going to hide. I'm not going to hide that I'm not vaccinated. Whatever it is, I'm not going to hide that I feel powerful and I feel connected, and I'm not going to hide that anymore. I'm going to speak my truth.
Right. So what's the flip then? So if you're not, no thank you to the hiding. So there is a theme, right? So Linda brought in hiding. Yep. So, and then also visibility, right? So same thing for you.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you want notes, or do you want to do it auditorily?
I can do it auditorily. Doesn't matter. Okay.
Yep.
Really,
then we'll just continue. We'll continue this. Let me do notes, just because some I don't think have seen notes with inquiry, and sometimes it can help, right? So yeah. We moved fast there with Linda, so I didn't pull them up. But let me pull them up, because then that can also sometimes help to see what's unfolding here, right? That we are actually doing something with this inquiry. One one sec. I'm just going to get my tablet ready here. And Edwina, who's another facilitator here, I made you a co-host because I'm getting weird commands from my computer. So I'm afraid that I might get bumped off. So if I do, just hold space until I can get back on. Yeah.
Yep, sure.
Thank you. Here comes the drawing program. Looks like it's working okay. And let me just screen share. And Linda, there's no right or wrong or bad that I didn't do notes with you, and I'm doing notes with Teresa, okay? Because I'm just rolling with what now I can do. Okay. With you, I wasn't quite sure till we started doing an inquiry what was emerging. So I asked Teresa, so I know we're going into some self-inquiry. So this won't have a template. I do have a couple of templates for this, but I actually prefer to work organically with just an open sheet of paper. And we're just going to meet. Now, you've said a couple things, so let's get it clarified. Is there any particular color you want me to write in, by the way?
Green.
Okay, great. And speaking my truth.
Yeah.
I'm going to get that in. And then right on its heels, and a big thank you, the breakthrough Linda just had about the hiding or the hidden. I guess it's hiding, not hidden. So let me put hiding. So we're already kind of off and rolling. So I'm just getting these. Yes, please, to this speaking my truth. No, thank you to the hiding. And just see what's present here now. There might be any kind of reaction, anything you notice, Teresa.
I don't want, I'm not going to hide who I am anymore.
Right.
Like I'm so done with being silent.
Ah, okay, good. There's another one, kind of these monoliths, right? So here's another one is silent or silence. So just agreeing. Yeah, you're right. No thanks to that.
Yeah.
And as you're meeting them, right, we're not trying to have anything happen as we meet it, but sometimes things do, right? So it all has its natural organic unfoldment. So what's now what do you notice? I'm feeling that it's a big deal. Agree with that. It is a big deal. Just like what happened here with Linda is a big deal. So
yeah.
All this, suppressing or speaking or hiding or showing silent expression, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
Very significant.
Yeah, I'm kind of done with it. But even in public, like, home life, public life, like I'm tired of being like, especially since this COVID thing, really, not being able to say, I got fired from my job because I got vaxxed. I won't get vaxxed.
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to hide it from people anymore. And I don't mind facing that conversation. But I still find that people will stop the conversation and not follow through because it might not, the whole issue doesn't have to come around vaccination. It has to do with freedom of choice. And I think that's what has to come out more into the public than the thought of who did or who didn't. It's what's taken from us and what we didn't realize is taken from us.
Let me get your minds in here, right? So I just want to recognize that. And I just always do this kind of profile thing for mind, right? So let's just say hello to mind, because mind is intellect is doing its whole tracking of stuff, right?
Yeah,
There's
that's
yes,
me.
please, no, thank you, all that. And mind scans. So we just want to, oh, hello, mind, you're welcome here. And
Yeah.
thank it for its love, because mind is always in service, even if it sometimes
Mhm.
drives us a little bonkers.
Mhm.
Deep love there,
Yeah.
because it's trying to figure this stuff all out. And this is really big stuff to figure out. And it's not just mind territory, right? It's also heart and belly.
Mhm.
And agreeing it's a big deal. We're going back here. It is a big deal. And that it's this speaking your truth, or this inner alignment, that you want it not only at home, you want it publicly, you want it both, right? Professional and personal.
Yeah.
And then what's really starting to show up, it's a longing, right? Just like Linda had her versions of her longings, right? Your consciousness to you is freedom of choice, please.
Yeah.
So we're just inviting it in. Oh, hello, freedom of choice. You're welcome here. And through the form of you, because you're the one who's connecting with it right now, even though these are universal things. I know you fly, right? So I often have that analogy of the airplane, and if you're at the airport, there's the what do they call them again? I'm blanking on the name. The gate, right? You're at the gate, and those,
Okay.
and if your plane's coming in, out in the tarmac are the people with the neon sticks,
like,
right? Guiding the plane in. And so you're actually, your plane is freedom of choice. You're like, hey, come here. This is your gate through the form of you, and through your field, and through your life experience, right? You're the one who gets to help anchor freedom of choice.
Mhm.
So just see, as you do a little, because we're doing consciousness work. Hello, freedom of choice. You're welcome here. Come on in. Stretch on out in me, in my field. Just see what happens. There's no right or wrong to it.
Whew. It's the heart opening.
Oh, okay. There's that heart, not just the mind. Hello, heart. An open heart. You are welcome here. Yes, please. And just inviting it. See if you can, it sounds like you can go with it. It's okay if there's any yeah, but let me know if anything interferes. But if not, just keep going with open heart. Yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be great satisfaction and pleasing if there was if that freedom was just there.
Just agree with that. That sounds accurate.
Mhm.
And just keep, as you're inviting it in, come on into me more, please. Stretch out in me, freedom of choice. Heart is opening. Anything else you notice? I can feel it in my own heart.
Well, guidance, fun.
Keep breathing. Big energy, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, there's just a lot of pushback.
Okay, let's meet that. Yeah, that's kind of the yeah buts, right? So,
Yeah.
and in this particular situation, obviously it's a big thing in our society, and there is a lot of pushback. So just, it's one of these monoliths to go meet, right? And we're here as backup, or whoever cares to be, right? This can be a polarizing situation, but I'm certainly here with you. So, and call on your allies. I know you have different kinds of, like Linda was saying, light beings, right? So just bring your allies behind you. Anybody in this group or listening to the recording who, no matter your stance, your personal choice, right? If you want to get behind our friend and colleague here, so she can meet this pushback, because it's very intimidating as one solo person to meet it, right? So, so lots of backup as you meet pushback, and you don't have to do anything with it. Just kind of, again, I always feel them as these big monoliths. So, whoa, here's this big pushback. What do you notice as you meet it? I'm going to push this a little bit, pushback. Try giving it, a classic gift. A classic gift would be like flowers. You're not giving it yourself.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you might just give it like a little gift, a little offering to it?
Well, I'm into crystals, so it'd be yeah.
Okay, cool.
So it'd be an amethyst or something.
Beautiful. So selecting the amethyst that's the right one that you want to give this pushback, and just see what happens as you offer it. Because most people do not give gifts to pushback, right? So we're really pushing the hello, you're welcome here by here's a gift. Here's a beautiful amethyst for you. And just see what happens as you give pushback that beautiful crystal.
Confusion on the other side. I'm feeling, my heart feels open and good, but I can see the confusion.
Oh, yeah, of course, because not
Yeah.
very often do these things get gifts. So it's like, what? That's not the usual thing. So just, that's okay. Oh, look at that. Push back, you give it a little amethyst. I'm not quite sure how to draw it, so I don't know.
Yep.
Not like that. Let's see. I don't know what shape it's in, but anyway, we'll just say, and I can't spell it either. So amethyst, you'll help me later, or somebody put it into the chat for me and I'll change it. But just as you give it that gift and it gets confused. So, look at that. Pushback's confused by getting a gift.
Yeah. But it's also understanding of what a gift of a crystal means. I feel it, because some people would think it's woo-woo, as I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And what does pushback understand?
Probably that I'm wacko.
It's understanding of the gift, you said. So it wouldn't think you're wacko if it's understanding of the gift.
Well, I wouldn't understand that this is a precious gift. And to them, it just looks like a rock.
Sure, other people. But what about the pushback?
Pushback.
Because you've just given it, you said it's confused. So maybe you just want to explain to it what the meaning of it is. So
compassion, love, connection, spiritual connection, growth.
I want to get those all down. So give them to me again if you can.
Yeah. Compassion, spiritual connection, and growth.
Okay, good. Hello, compassion, spiritual connection, and growth. You can invite those in, or you can, if you care to, invite those in even more. Hello, compassion, spiritual connection, and growth. And hey, come in here and meet pushback. Just see, as you explain this to pushback, and probably all the people that are connected to pushback, I'm hearing that, right? There's a lot of kind of people connected to here. Just see what happens as you explain, hey, this gift that I just gave is about compassion, spiritual connection, and growth. See what happens as that kind of dawns on them about what the gift means.
Boldness.
And how does boldness fit in?
I just feel that it was like it's bold and it's my strength.
Yes, please, to that.
Yeah.
So instead of this hiding, now boldness, which is your strength, is emerging.
Yeah.
And just see if you invite that to come in too, into the gate. Oh, you're welcome here, boldness, which is my strength. Come on in, stretch on out.
Yeah, it feels pretty good.
Good. Okay. Yeah. Pretty good tells me there's something in the way, but we'll take the expansion that did happen. I'm going to draw a couple of circles around this, which kind of connotes the expansion. And then for the but the kind of interference that happened, just what's that about? Oh, hello, right? You got a partial, which often happens. So a little partial expansion. So go back to the part that couldn't or wouldn't or whatever, and see what that's about, or hear, or however it comes to you. No.
Yeah. Wanting strength and growth to come from it. Just all about strength and growth.
Okay.
Just coming into my own power, or the collective power I'm feeling right now.
Well, let's take your own first, because that came,
Yeah. My
so
power.
strength and growth and my power, you are welcome here.
Yeah.
And again, you're just like you've been doing all the way along with these very powerful ones, just inviting them. Hey, come on in. There's room for you. I've been through this journey and lots of different things have been moving in me. There's more space. So strength, growth, and my own power, you're welcome here. Come on in. Occupy my body, my field, root down, rise up, stretch out. It has its own intelligence. So these are just pointers, right? It'll know how it wants to move if it cares to, right? So just see as you invite strength and growth in your own power in, do they respond to the invitation?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Good news. Yes, please. And what do you notice? How does it move? Does it root down? Does it rise up? Does it expand or something else?
It rises up and expands.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So yes, please, to that rising up and expanding.
Yeah. Calmness.
Great.
Calmness.
There's calmness again, our old friend.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it last with Linda as that was really coming in at the end of her inquiry. So same thing for you. We can all, through the form of you, benefit of inviting in calmness. You are welcome here. Come on in. Yes,
Yeah.
please, to calm.
Joy and release.
Wow. Did you say release?
Release. Relief. Release. Release. Release.
I think I got it right. So yes, all good signs, right? These are very, very high vibrational states. So good news is you met all this other stuff. And as it continues to move through your system and reorient to new and take up more space, what do you know? There's joy and release. Good news. Yay.
Yeah, and the heart feels better too, actually.
Excellent.
Yeah,
We always like that.
heart,
Yes, please.
There's
Heart
like a
feels better.
little tingling kind of thing.
Welcoming the tingling. Yes, please. Always a sign of something happening. Oh, look at that. The heart's getting all tingly. Yes, please.
I think I'm good. Yeah.
And just saying, more, please. You're welcome here. Come on in, root down, rise out, stretch out through the form of me, through my field, through my life. You're welcome here. You're in touch with consciousness and with these energies, beautiful attributes.
Yeah.
They have to funnel through somebody. Why not through the form of you? Because you're connecting with them right now. Yes, please.
Yeah. Expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Expansion. And now I want to cry.
Yeah. Hello, sweet tears. You're welcome.
Yeah. Tears of joy. Yeah. Okay.
Also a sign of stuff is moving, right? And when you hit that high vibrational stuff, the difference from where we often are, right? The tears can result. Tears are always processing in the body, in the somatic. They're always wonderful. They have great intelligence. They know how to process and cathartic things and move them through our systems, even if the left brain doesn't understand it all. So you're welcome here, sweet tears.
Yep, you're welcome. Oh boy.
Thank you for your medicine.
Thank you for your medicine. I never know what's coming out of this stuff that I do.
Me neither. It's wonderful to be along as we meet.
Yep. Wow.
Good place to leave you to continue to be in communion with and inviting in and acclimatizing to.
Yeah, thank you.
And give me a title. What title would you care on here?
I'm speaking my truth.
Yeah. Woohoo. Just going to get it up at the top here. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
You are welcome here.
You are very welcome here.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful
I've written-
inquiry.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
Thank you.
draw. Yeah, my pleasure. You know, bit by bit, they unfold, right? And then there's the trail. So I'm just going to make the trail apparent here. You know, here's where we ended with expansion and joy and release. Yes, please. Okay, I'll do a little more coloring and puttering and get that to you. And just keep cruising, just keep coasting with what you're in connection with, right? Just acclimatizing to it.
Yeah.
Your system and field kind of recalibrates, making room for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop that share.
Thanks. Oh, geez. You know,
And that's self-inquiry without a template. Save as.
Okay, fix it.
And you saw with Linda, we did a self-inquiry without notes. So that was organic notes. And let me just check time. So about 35 minutes to go. So beautiful, beautiful unfoldment happening here. So now another piece of work happened. You're welcome to use chat if you care to, if there's anything you want to say to Teresa or anything you noticed about what was going on for you. Sometimes you're right there with somebody, like Linda was saying, and we could hear it in your inquiry too. If you're not used to inquiry, you don't really know what's going on the other side. But if you've done inquiry, you've been over on that other side. So you know different things are happening in your body and in your system. And sometimes you can get observing this, you can get a sense of what's going on for that person. But you know, just hang tight till you have your own inquiry. Then you start to, oh yeah, stuff is going on over here. And then we just come together as a group with these two incredible pieces of work that have happened here. So great thanks to Linda, great thanks to Teresa. And then we just come together and see now what wants to happen. It might be it might be a report, right? Just saying hello or checking in, or any reports if you've done previous work in this container, or it might be something new, right? And might be just, hey, this is what I noticed going on in this moment. We may do inquiry. That's what we've done with so far today, or something else might happen, but we seem to be on quite the roll with inquiry here. And I'm just appreciating the warmth in my own chest and my own system, nice and warm. I'm going to mute you, Teresa.
Okay.
Thank you. And thanks for the spelling assist, Edwina. I wish I had like chat walking around in live. I shouldn't say what I hope, because soon enough we'll have that, right? But having those things appear that you magically need is very helpful. Thank you. Okay, so we'll just see. Anything is welcome. It doesn't have to be piggybacking on what's already happened. So it might be similar energy, might be different energy, might be something completely different. It's all okay. Laura Lee is just being here. Nice. Yay. Thank you for letting us know.
I just guess I'll say that I'm new to this whole process. I'm just starting the home shift it program. So this is also my first Satsang, so it's also all very new and very interesting, and it's got me feeling hopeful and enthusiastic.
Yes, please. Those are
Yes.
wonderful high vibe places. hopeful and enthusiastic. Yay. Some of you are well aware of Shifted, so you know what Angelina is in the midst of. If you're not aware, I flashed up one of the first slides that had a bunch of graphics on it, were the graphics from the Shifted kit. It's called the Shifted Visual Coaching System. That's my signature system. It's really a practical coaching system, right? So if you're in a transition and I can't say, you have a different name. So our Laris artist is one of the certified visual coaches with us. So, so some of you will know what Angelina is in the midst of. And it's got all the left brain practicalities. And what you're getting here is more of the right brain, right? More of the soul work, which I know you and I in our initial chat, right? That's what's going on for you too, is the left brain and the right brain, the head and the heart, right? Just really the mix of it. So you're in good company. Glad you're here. Glad you're getting a taste of the satsang. Glad it's bringing hopefulness. Yay. Good news. Anything you want to share about how your shifter process is going, or just what's up for you? Not necessarily here to, but yeah.
It's been a lot of work. Like, some days that I've found that I've, worked on the maps. Just feeling exhausted at the end of the day. So it's I think a lot of soul searching and deep work, which is good. A lot of insights, and I'm finding just on some other things that just pop up that I'm able to kind of delve into them a little bit more and get insights a lot quicker, and not just pass them off as, just something else that happened in the day. So hopefully that's a sign of being able to be more aware and self-aware of things as they happen in everyday life. It's a really good process, and I think it's going to be cathartic.
Are you right in the midst? Are you on the visioning part or the trouble at the border? Do you know?
Actually, I've got sort of my first draft of all of the maps done, and now
wow, you've been through it. Good.
Yeah, I'm transferring them all onto the larger 11 by 17. So I'm going to start getting those emailed off to you, and then start booking my sessions with
Excellent.
you.
Good. Yeah. So it makes sense you're tired, because you've been moving through a lot of stuff in a short period of time. It wasn't that long ago that you secured it for yourself. So that's amazing.
Yeah, pretty much 2 weeks and gotten through it all. So
impressive. I look forward to our private time together and seeing them. Yeah. I put the link for anybody who's curious. You'll see the same kit. I've got 8 home study kits, and this is the first and the signature one with the visual coaching, right? So if you're in a transition like Angelina is, this is a good one to do. And it's wonderful. Sometimes people, when they do the self-paced stuff, let's just say they don't work through it as fast as you do. So that's amazing that you've got it done in 2 weeks. With the deluxe level, it comes with 3 privates. So that's what Angelina is referencing. So that'll be interesting to see it, when you're ready to send it through. And
yeah, I think
any yeah buts and stuff in it, right? That's what I can be helpful with. I'll be a witness to it. So
yeah. The other thing I think that you had mentioned somewheres along the way too was that sometimes what you think going in as to what your issues are, or the things that you feel like you want to work through, other things seem to come out of it. And I definitely have one that was kind of more on the back burner, and I think it's becoming way more prevalent than I thought it would.
Great. So yes, like I said, that often happens, right? There's kind of those presenting issues, and once you get into it, those might still play out, but then other things show themselves, and that can be really helpful. So really useful to kind of have that rise to the top to be able to see it and make it more visible. So that's cool. I'm glad to hear that's happening for you. Depending on what it is, right? It might be great or might not be not so great, but sounds like it's important. So it's good it's arising.
Yeah.
And you have some time too, whether you want to get into it here or you want to just do it privately. So either way.
Well, it's more of the, for me, it's more of the, it's always been kind of in the back of my mind that it would be really nice to have something that's kind of like a, sideline gig or career that I could work at, on my own time. And, I always kind of thought like maybe in retirement, just sort of as a, bit of an income stream. And I just kind of thought initially or before I started all of this that it's down the road. It's not right now. And I feel like if I could really make it happen sooner rather than later, that would be more satisfying than putting it off.
Yeah.
Just really know how to make it happen or what that thing is.
Have you been talking with your future self about it yet? There's a move in the right in the middle, everybody that's connects to the future self, and that's always a wonderful ally. Also the alpha mind, which will be, if you don't have connection to that, let me know and I'll connect you to the alpha mind materials as well, because that's another place that you can get even more in depth. It's a way to connect with the right brain, right, with the fuller intelligence and the higher intelligence of us, each of us as individuals, which can be really helpful to dialoguing, right?
Yeah, I did the future self visioning and I'm not really getting any answers on that aspect of it.
Yeah. How is she? Sometimes they won't give you stuff because it's like we have to go through it, right? So they don't really kind of make it easy on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what you're having? Yeah.
I get a lot of all will be revealed in due course, and I don't get answers, so I just get
He's
a lot
gonna
of
make you go through it.
Files, yeah.
Yeah, some of them are kind of badasses like that. Yeah. Condolences, but also often makes sense too why they do that, right? We got to fight our ways out of our own paper bags too, because that about strength that Teresa was saying, that the strength and the growth, right? If you help that little chick peck its way out of the egg, you're kind of in danger of its life in a way, because it needs to build those muscles.
I'm getting a lot of that, patience, and the universe will bring it to you when the time is right. And, it's just a matter of, if I ask where or when or how, I don't get those definitive answers. I just get in due course, in time. The universe will bring it to you, those types of answers.
So let's go to the mind and the doer, because they probably have a tough time with those answers. So just like,
absolutely,
right, some compassion, because I and most people I tracked have a very highly developed intellect and doer. Some I also attract straight out intuitives and empaths who operate in a different kind of way, but I can feel it in you, right? So, and I have that myself. So just lots of compassion for the difficulty. For the left brain and getting answers like that, like having patience and all in due time, and hey, you have to be in process, right? That's really hard for minds and doers.
Yeah.
So, we know it's hard. We know it's not the answer you were hoping for. How do they respond with that compassion? Sorry if you hear a barking dog in the background.
Well, it's just back to that, part of me is like, it's just a matter of time, and you just have to have patience with it. And, sometimes in life we want to speed things up. We want the answers now, and we want to do now, and life, it doesn't always work that way. So
True. And how does the mind or the doer, the hands or wherever it is, the feet, how's it respond to that? Is it softening it all, or is it kind of have a reaction?
I think it's kind of the shrug of the shoulders, right? Like, there's nothing I can do about it. So,
Yeah. So that could be, is that a little defeatist, or is it actually kind of like, okay,
I think it's kind of the, okay, so be it.
good. Okay, that's lighter. That's good news. Yeah. Okay, it is the way it is. So be it. Yeah. So just, that's sweet, the so be it. Oh, hello, so be it. You are welcome here.
Yeah.
Going along for the ride. And also you might say to the mind and the doer, and this is for everybody, when we have these transitional zones, right, we have these places where things are known and you really can't think your way through it or do it. Hey, now's a great opportunity to get some rest, right? For the mind and the doer to get some rest. And you're going to reassure them they're not going to go away forever. You're glad that they exist. They've got you through so much. They're a wonderful coping, survival mechanism, very practical, right? However, because you don't need them right at this immediate moment, some things are in play. You can say to them, hey, now's a good time for a vacation. Now's a good time for you to get some rest. Knowing that once things do become clear, they're going to be able to spring into action, right? The mind's going to be able to do its thing. The doer's going to be able to start taking some actions, but they can't. So it actually works out well if they're able to come to rest, take a little snooze. They can keep one eye open if they need to for safety reasons. But if they can kind of relax a little, that's good news for the larger plan, right? For the larger unfoldment, because they'll be refreshed by the time things start to come into play. They'll be refreshed so that they can now do their thing. So just see how they're responding. They're listening to me as I'm saying this. So
they are, and they're very happy with that, and it's very soothing.
Yay. And just pinning like medals on them for their service, right? Because they've worked super, super hard. And we just want to really honor them and thank them for their service and everything they've done for you in your life to date. Like, wow, thank you, because they're magnificent. And hey, you've earned your break, your R&R. Every good soldier hopefully gets some R&R. Right? So rest. You can have a little break. We'll wake you up when you're needed, right? Get refreshed. Yay, soothing. Do they have any yeah buts? Anything that they need in order for them to come more to rest right now?
No, actually, what you just said was very relaxing and very calming and very okay.
Great.
I'm
Great.
good with
So as you're seeing, I feel the field really dropping. So yay, they've responded so beautifully. They're good with that. So good. Rest. Stretch on out, lay down in the ocean floor, the sand, swing in the hammock, whatever their preference is for resting. I know you like Panama, so maybe it's something connected to Panama, right? Swinging in Panama. Yeah. And we'll alert you, especially because you're doing Shift It, right? And there's an action plan and everything. So you can even bring the action plan to them as they're swinging in the hammock so that they can weigh in a little bit.
Yeah. And it kind of resonates with, like, right now I do feel like I'm going through that break time for me, step out of the rat race type of time right now. So it's just like, yeah, you guys get to rest too.
Excellent. Yes, all out of the rat race. Good idea.
Yeah.
Let's all step out. Feel so much better out of that. Yay. So how wonderful you have this opportunity right now to be out of that. And these wonderful soldiers, or whatever term you want to put on it, they work so hard for you. These wonderful employees even, right, with the head and the doer, that they they too get to be out of the rat race right now. Oftentimes they can't calm enough, and it's a shame because you have this wonderful opportunity, right? And so if they can all come to rest, you can really take advantage of the opportunity, because more will come, more will unfold, where they will soon enough here be needed again.
Yep. Thank you. That was very helpful.
My pleasure. Helpful all around, all of us to feel those aspects coming to rest a little. Nice. And if we're not in the midst of one of those transitions ourselves right now, we probably have been or we will be in the future. So good luck. I look forward to speaking with you when we connect over the kit and those maps.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well.
Can you guys hear that there's a big dog in the house and he's out front? Sometimes it's Amazon delivery. I've ordered a couple books, so I wonder if he's terrorizing the Amazon delivery. Yeah. I don't think you can maybe hear it through the mic, so that's good. Yeah. No, you can't. Good. Yeah. And where are we? We probably have time to just kind of, 15 minutes. So maybe we'll just do a closing. There might be something present in here. If there is, we can segue into bonus time, but let's just do a quick closeout, which will give me an opportunity to see if there is any other bits that want to move over into bonus time. And then for those who are leaving, anything you want to say to complete, not necessary, it's all voluntary, right? But just we'll do a little go round here. Just any closing comments, any thoughts. Each time's different. So this is what number 59 was.
I just want to turn my camera around. I just wanted to give you a view of the beach.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, it's very cold, very windy, but I think the air here is helping my lungs.
Nice.
Yeah, so
Hello, Melbourne Beach.
I just wanted to share that. Yeah,
Beautiful. Yeah.
My local beach. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Linda. Thanks for the beach scene. Beautiful. My mind's trying to find the name, something like ozone or something. There's some sort of thing with the beach, right? With all those zingy particles and stuff that happens that's so cleansing.
I think they're called
Ions.
negative ions.
That's it.
Ions.
Thank you. Ions. Thank you. Yeah. Not ozone, ions.
Yeah, I was just going to say, thank you, Christina. I always get good support and outcome. I'm
Excellent.
always happy to do these things with you.
Thank you, Teresa.
You're
All of us
patient.
in the co-creation. Yay.
Yeah, yay. I think.
Thanks for coming. Good to see you. To be continued, right? In process. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I just want to end this note on a happy note saying it was great hanging out with you guys for the last 2 hours, and thank you, Linda. That was awesome. Great triggers for me. Yep. Yeah, really good. So, yeah, I'm in Mexico, by the way.
Thank you.
Hi from Mexico. Back at ya. Yeah.
And thanks, Christina. That was great to experience how you just flowed with whatever came up. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks, Edwina. Nice to have you here. Down under too. Yeah. I like it when I do these ones intentionally later, so it's not so early for those of you in that part of the world. So it's really nice to have several of you from the Australia zone here with us. Yay.
Yeah, I'm Jeanette. I'm not far from Linda. I'm just down in Mount Eliza. So it's nice to see the beach. I might go down there myself.
Mm.
I just
No, I'm not far either. I'm in Sandhurst, so I'm near a different beach at Seaford. Yeah.
Maybe there might be some in-person connecting here eventually in the beaches. That's great. Mm.
Yeah, I just wanted to put out there, I was going to speak earlier and I didn't, around transition. So I'm still in my transition phase with work, and so I've got a lot of decisions to make about family and whether I live here or in the UK. So there's like lots of things happening for me right now, and I've committed to doing a course which is really helpful on career acceleration. So I'm exploring all the options on, the only thing is I might have the ladder up the wrong wall because I don't know whether I want to have another job again, but at least it's giving me a format to look at my strengths and look at what I want to do moving forward.
Great. In the midst of that, check with your future self too.
Yeah, because I have no idea, and sometimes it's very scary because I have no idea what to do next. But I'll just have to
agree with this. Agree with this. Scary. It's true, right? Transitions are so scary often. Yeah.
And I resonate when you said my mind is a doer, and I don't have any options at the moment, so I have to wait until I find out what the options are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is difficult for the mind and the doer because they want to chop. That's how they get their security, understandably. Yeah. So lots of like awe, just real authentic sweetness to your mind and to the doer, right? Because it doesn't have its nice checklist right now that it can get going. So it's vulnerable.
And also I don't feel supported by a lot of people. So I just have to work my way through that. And also my expectations are quite high versus what other people can deliver. So I know that about myself. So I just have to monitor that.
Well, and what comes along often with transition, earlier today, I was speaking with it. I can't remember who I was dialoguing about, but they had said it was very handy. Oh, I know, because it came up in shifting the power. There can often be with transitions, and Teresa, you mentioned this too, right? With what you've gone through. There's a letting go process, right? And we often no longer match the people that we might have matched for a long time. And so first it seems like all those non-matches like fall off, and it takes a while until the matches come together, right? The new matches, the new vibration sorts itself out, and then new folks. This is a good example here of matches of energy, even though we're all over the world, right? It's obviously nice to have them in person and have that settled, which you don't have settled yet. So just a little reassurance to the mind and to the doer, or to the ones that want to be connected, right? That things like this are a nice surrogate in between, and more are coming as you sort this out and this becomes known, and that mind and that doer use their abilities to create that new kind of normal for you, right? That new stability, that it will gel. More new people will come who match who you now are, will come. But it's hard in that neutral zone. It's hard in that in-between zone where one baton's been let go of and the next one hasn't fully materialized, right? To be in that neutral zone is a real challenge for most human beings, understandably so. So just, you're in the neutral zone still, right? Like sometimes these are big neutral zones. And how great you came. So you get some camaraderie and some community with people who kind of get it and who are also going through their own transitions. Yeah. stick around if you want to do a piece of process work on it. Let me just see if there's any other comments as we're officially closing, knowing some of us might stick around here for some bonus time. But anybody want to say anything before we officially close? Going once, going twice. Okay, then I'm going to officially close. And I had a slide. Let's see if I can find the slide with the dates again. And Edwina, I saw that your question, so maybe in bonus time, I can talk a little bit about some of the kits and programs if you want. One second here. Yeah, all these fiddling with things. So just a reminder about, again, the processing group that's coming up with Annika. And Annika is a survivor of trafficking, sex trafficking as a child with an elite pedophile network. So intense trauma, and an incredible woman who has been through a remarkable healing journey and has a model called the unconditional model. And those elements of, you know, what we're welcoming here and with love, bringing compassion is really central to her model. So that program starts on Thursday, and it looks like it's going to be around 20 people. So it'll be a good size for a nice size for a processing group, as opposed to the 90 people who are in the full program. And it'll be mixed. Most people will have been through that program, but I'd say about a quarter won't be. And we'll all co-create there and find our way with the particular tools we use there. We do a lot with projection, projecting up, projecting down, a lot with power dynamics. And the next one of these will be June 5th, Monday, June 5th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pacific time. Again, I'll send out the reminders on it. And we'll also send out the recording and the one map that we did with Teresa. We'll send that out. You'll see that soon enough once Lisa and I, my assistant, turn that around. So with that, thank you for coming. That's what wanted to happen this time. It's different everyone. And maybe we'll see you in another one in the future. And you know where I am if you want any one-to-one time or assistance. And I'll segue here with Edwina and her questions about some of the programs. And then Jeanette, I don't know if you have the time, but it seems like maybe a bit of process work wants to happen there. So we'll do some bonus time with you. And there might be others here who have some things that they want to do as well. At the very, very end, I'll turn off the recording. And so if there's anything that wants to be said off recording, that's certainly welcome to, after I do a bit of process work with Jeanette. Bye if you're leaving. If you're going to stick around for bonus time, please do. We'll take a little break, just take a little bio break, a couple minutes, and then we'll be back and I'll answer Edwina's questions and then do some processing with Jeanette and whatever else is here in the container. Thanks for coming. Good to see you. Bye. And I'll just stop my video for just a sec. I'll be back. Okay, I'm just trying to think about the easy way to give you the course overview. So I guess to talk about what's active. So I run an online school and there's basically 2 semesters, right? We're right now in the big semester. So from January through June. And then there's another one in the fall. I'm just getting the dog. Hold on. She just came in from the backyard. There we go. Okay. So I'm finishing off the big semester right now. And so the course I'm doing with Annika, you've been in the Shifting the Power. So those tools that we're using in that program, we're moving into this processing group that will start on Thursday. That's the final new program. I have several ones that are running right now, a visual coach certification and a private satsang. So 3 more courses to complete for this semester. Then I'll be taking a break. I always take August off, so I'll have all of August off, and then I'll come back in the fall. I don't have dates set for the fall, but here's what I'm thinking, because I think one of them you're interested in, which is the fundamentals of working visually. That's been my mainstay program with the visual skills for, I don't know, 20 years. And there is a kit for that that's available at any time. I'll bring up in a second, I'll bring up the page that has all the kits. I'm in the midst of revamping that. That's like a base program for, I have 2 client bases, if you will. And sometimes a person is in both, right? So I do my process work. So I work with groups, I work with individuals, and I have my coaching and facilitation work. And because of the nature of what I do with visual skills, I've been a trainer and teacher in visual skills and different kinds of process techniques for a long time. So we're in a container right now over in the process work, right? We're not, some of you might be learning it, or part of why you're here is just to observe, right? But primarily we're here to do our own inner work. For people to, most times, the Shifting the Power program, I did things differently than I usually do, just because of the importance of that mission, right? So assisting people with trauma and also helping to bring awareness and knowledge about some of these extreme sides of trauma that some people don't believe exist in the world, right? They unfortunately very much do. So part of my mission there with Annika is to help bring that more into the world in a legitimate, serious way, respectful way, and also assist people in continuing to process their trauma, whatever extent it exists in the spectrum. So I made a little different thing than I usually do. Usually if people want to use my methods or tools, they come into my visual coach certification. But given the importance of what's going there, I agreed with Annika that I would contribute and also help build tools for her, specifically for that program. And if there were providers in that program, if they at first use them on themselves and become familiar with them, then they can use those tools in their own practice with their own clients who they're assisting with trauma. Now, some of those people, maybe you're one of them, because they see those tools are visual, they're probably going to want some help with working visually and or applying working visually to the ways they already work. And I know, Edwina, you have your own ways that you work. So it makes sense that you want to use those tools for shifting the power, and then you have your own ways to work. You're really interested in working visually. So you may or may not end up in the visual coach certification, but I have 2 prerequisites for that. The fundamentals of working visually is one of them, and then Shift It, the program that Angelina referenced, that's the other one, because Shift It is a big part of the visual coach certification. And you'll put at least one person fully through for 12 hours of client work. So with that context, in the fall, I will have another fundamentals of working visually. It will be online. I was thinking I would do an in-person one here in Canada, but I don't think I will between now and the fall. So there will be an online one in the fall. And I'm in the midst of recrafting it. I want to really put the working with individuals first, as opposed to what I've done in the past, which is the graphic recording and the graphic facilitation has become first. And the coaching or the one-to-one work was the last thing that we did in that program. Now I'm going to reverse that. We're going to do all the basic skills. We're going to really apply them first on working with individuals, probably within the group. And then we'll start to extend to the other applications of using the visuals within groups, whether those are coaching groups or they're more traditional kind of organizational, corporate kind of groups. So I don't have the dates. That will happen in the fall. But for anybody who does want to get into the visual skills sooner rather than later, there is a kit available. So I'm just going to bring up and find that page and then put it into the chat. There's a page on my site. If you go, I'll screen share now. There's a tab in the navigation that says online study kits. And there's if you hover over it, you can see the list of them. And I'll just put the link into the chat.
So they're all individual, like if you scroll down here, these are all individual different courses. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And
and this is not the certification. That's something totally different.
Correct. Although you can get the prerequisites done for certification. I don't have a kit, but frankly, I'm going to be working on one soon enough. Here. I will have a way that you can do the certification via self-study. You're going to have interaction with me, and they'll be drop-in office hours and stuff. But that I am in the midst of developing kind of you don't have to be in the live cohort, given when I run them isn't the greatest timing for half the world, right? So I've been asked for years to do more of a self-paced option. So it is coming for certification. But yes, you can get the 2 prerequisites if you're interested in certification. They're here in kits that are available at any time, or you can just wait till I run the live prerequisites. The next certification won't be till like a year from now, April 2024. So there's a year here to get the prerequisites done for anybody that's interested in that. Or you can just cherry pick through these kits, right? There's if I scroll down the page, this is the first one that I was talking about. So the fundamentals of working visually. So if you're a beginner, or even if you've been around this work, because it's a very extensive course and I have a lot of experience in the 4 different ways of working. So people who have been graphic recorders for a while, maybe even facilitating visually, even though it's called fundamentals, a lot of intermediate people get a lot of value out of doing this program. It's not your typical graphic recording course that now exists all over the world. When I was starting, I was one of the few people in the world where you could train in these skills. So the fundamentals of working visually is available as a kit. And you can click through and read all about it and how long and stuff it is. The one that Angelina is working through that's really great for transitions, or if you need to do some, heavy duty thinking and feeling about your life, that's the Shifted Home Retreat Kit. So these top 2 are prerequisites for coming into the certification. What we're doing right now, the Satsang, whether it's public or private, that's my more advanced work. And I don't really teach self-inquiry per se. I do have maps. And you and I are both constellators. I don't teach constellation, but I do have a bunch of constellation maps that I throw into certification. Because this work has gone so online, there is a kit that helps you with shifting into working digitally. And so that's like how I worked with the drawing tablet. Instead of this work primarily was done in person, right? With large sheets of paper. The sun's starting to come in, so you're going to kind of lose me in the afternoon here. But the visual work started out with mural-sized paper in person with groups. And when I started to work with individuals and experiment in that way, being one of the first people in the world to do that, I started that way. I started with the large sheets of paper and just working with people. And I still have in-person retreats and stuff where people come to be able to do that big paper method in person. But if you are going to work like I'm working, and a lot of practitioners now, thanks to the pandemic, right? This whole field had to figure out how to work online. And so that's what this program is about, the shift into digital work. It helps you look at the different options that exist for the different hardware and software. And then it uses a specific software and hardware, right? I use what's called the Cintiq tablet. And I use a program called Sketchbook Pro. Most people in the field don't. They use a different combination. They use iPads and they use a program called Procreate. we cover Procreate a little bit in here, but there's other places that you could research if you're interested in using an iPad and Procreate. You could find other practitioners who teach those basics. I have a wonderful collaborator named Rhoda Draws, and Rhoda is she's a caricature artist and a wonderful sketcher, urban sketcher.
I know
so
Rhoda.
Collaborated with programs on fast and loose sketching. So that gives you the basics on drawing. It's like a mini art school, the fast and loose sketching program. And then if you're specifically, because now when we're on Zoom all the time, we don't really get to see a lot except a person's head, maybe their hands if we're lucky, and a little bit of their backdrop. So the heads and hands kit helps people focus specifically on those. And then I have another collaborator, Karen Lloyd, who works in the animation film industry. She's an animation director. And so she collaborated and did the cartoon and storybook techniques kit. And that's really great for film directors, right? Your different cuts, your different, like your panoramics or your zooms or your different ways that you tell a story. So for those of us who are working visually and we're having to tell different kinds of stories, getting tips from somebody like her who's in animation, right, can be really helpful. Not just the cartooning, but the angles and the views and stuff that you weave into your work. And you're already set up. You, like me, have a school. So this is probably too basic for you, and you teach these kinds of things in your own school. But I have a business essentials for process professionals, because I'm working with a lot of people, as we've heard here in this group. Sometimes people, like Angelina was saying, she wants to build her side thing now rather than later. And some people wait till retirement. Some people go like me, they go, from a job into full on, like you, we're the same self-employment, right? So that's a program to help people get up to the 50 to 300K level with a solo practice or small business, primarily being a process person. Yeah. And that's what that, and some of these are included, like I include the business essentials and this shift into digital work. I include that in the certification. And frankly, I'm probably going to include some of Rhoda's fast and loose sketching in the stuff coming up. And what else? Practical energy work. You and I work a lot in the subtle energy field, and we certainly experience that today in some of the things that emerged. As you know, I had a Kundalini awakening in 2009. I mean, it's still ongoing. I'm not special. Everybody's got Kundalini. However, mine came on pretty rapidly and accelerated. And so I had to seek out things like constellation and like body work and energy work at large. And so as my left brain learned those things, I tend to structure things and explain things to other people. That's actually the precursor to what now is happening with satsang, right? So I didn't have satsangs up until a couple of years ago. So this was actually several years I was doing practical energy work programs. And that's now naturally morphed into the satsangs. Particularly the private satsang. So some of the tools in here, orphan rescue, you saw over in Shifting the Power, something called Alpha Mind, which I mentioned earlier, other kinds of protocols, particularly around the explaining the subtle energy world for people who think that's weird, right? Who like I used to be, very left brain and very kind of corporate-y, explaining that no, that's a true thing. And here's the terrain, and then here are some ways to work with that, right? To get your left brain and your right brain more synchronized, and to really tap into the intelligence of consciousness at large. So that's I don't run those courses live anymore, but I do still have a kit. And so often people will do Shift It and then the practical energy work kit, because the energy work kit gets you to deeper things, right? You get the basics in Shift It. And then for those that are really opening up in the subtle energy work, that or a satsang is a really nice pairing. So there you go. There's a whole bunch of blah, blah and a commercial makes me a little squirmy to do a commercial, but there's an explanation of the train, at least of the kids. And Annika and I, we don't have a kit. Given the nature of what's happening there, we made agreements that we wouldn't, at least in the one we just did, right? We wouldn't be using those recordings into a kit. I don't know what she or I will do around that work. You know, that'll continue to unfold. I don't know if we will have anything beyond the live programs, but right now we're finding our way in creating the live programs.
Thank you. It was great. I think I need to go look at each of them individually and see what they are
they've
too.
got a lot of info on those pages. Yeah.
Still something about drawings freaking me out, but that's okay. I'll work through it.
And that's something you can bring to Satsang, right? So it's all the way with the visual skills. You'll even see it in the kit. There's a whole section on resistance, and that's a very natural thing, right? The drawing, especially for people like you and me too. I'm not the world's best artist, but I use this stuff live, right? In process work. So actually you get slowed down if you're the world's best artist, right? Because you have to let go of so many things. So you kind of need good enough is good enough, right? To be able to do the live process work. There's wonderful artists, and there you'll hear in the kit, you know, a lot of the work nowadays is very highly illustrative, more studio work. And there's certainly a place for wonderful artists in the field, but there's also a place for those of us who are really good process people who get intimidated, you know, with the graphics. I'm a good example, frankly, that your graphics don't have to be, you know, the be all and end all to do effective visual work. I can, if given the time and putter away in my studio, I can do, you know, decent illustrations and stuff, but I don't have the time when I'm doing live process work. So that often helps soothe, you know, the critic inside. Also, there's usually trauma. There's usually art trauma. People have had something happen earlier in life where they were somehow shamed or compared to other people with their artistry and creativity, and that stuff gets shut down. So that's a very delicate process as an adult as you come to work using these tools in your process work, right? Often there's a layer of that. There's orphan rescues that have to be done. And it comes up a lot in my certification. You and I have talked a bit about that, right? Where people hit different kinds of blocks. And in order to keep going with the work, we have to work through those blocks. And that's all the stuff that we do here in Satsang, is working through those earlier wounds, right? Particularly connected to visibility, to money, and to art, right? In order to be a practitioner who uses those things. Technology too is another big one, you know, that people often get intimidated by and are natural things to work through. So I have long experience of working with people who are intimidated by drawing, you know. So bring it to these satsangs. And
but it's great because you're getting the visual even without the drawing, like just even the color and even just writing the words and things like that is still visual. Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't always have to have drawing. And then I teach you the basics, and the same things with Rhoda's program, right? Everybody can be taught how to draw, and it just depends on, you know, your inclinations of how much time you want to put into it. And what you're using it for. So it's really mostly ego strength too, to be able to be okay with the nature of your work, right? Especially for us process people, right? To like me, like I'm not as I said, the world's best artist or illustrator, but I'm a very good practitioner, and I've worked visually for decades, right? So it doesn't, I have that ego strength because I know the power of working visually. And like you just said, it can be very simple. It's shapes, it's lettering, techniques with lettering. Again, nothing too fancy, but you can go to Heather Martinez in the field who can help you get fancy if you have the time for fancy. You know, and some basic icons, which we teach. Yeah. And then you too can work visually, the power of it. You know, and you already know that from some of the constellation work I've seen you do.
And I work visually, and I work with slides and things like that. It's just that I'm not drawing them. I'm kind of getting other people's drawings and putting them together as my visuals. Yeah. So that's okay. It's a process. I'll get there. Thank you. That was great though.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I am still fascinated.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's lots of ways to do that. And who the heck knows what's right around the corner here with AI and technology and stuff, right? Pretty soon we're going to just be saying it and boom, there's the graphic recording. So it's going to be interesting to see what continues to unfold.
Great, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, I have a blind purchased for my window, but I still have not, I'm intimidated by mechanical. That's my thing. I can draw, but getting a blind up is like intimidating. So I keep procrastinating on getting the thing up that will block the light coming in as it does late in the afternoon. So I'm going to halfway disappear on you as the light hits me. So Jeanette, are you still up? Should we segue here? And would you like notes or you want to just do it auditorily?
Well, as I'm a visual, notes would be helpful.
Okay, good.
And I have so many projects and things that I'm handling that I write everything down. So that would be, and I appreciate what you say, because I'd love to do this work, but I'm intimidated by the visuals too and think, oh, it's too hard, because I facilitate a lot. So I think it would help with what I do or what I might be doing. So that's part of where I'm sitting at the moment. And I'm not sure what to do next. But in terms of today, I was thinking, it's, as you know, with my history, had quite a few things happen in the last few years, and my leg is healed because my hip replacement is come to it's finally healed itself, so that's helped. Okay. And the biggest thing at the moment is,
sorry, press, I just hit her. I hit my dog's head with the tablet. She's like, woke up. She's like, what? Sorry, baby. Oh, I'm just going to move her over into bed. Sorry to interrupt. Doggy. There you go, Bubba. Do you have a particular color you want me to ascribe in?
Blue.
Did you say blue? Sometimes the audio cuts out.
I'll make it green, actually. That's for growth.
Okay.
So I'm working hard on the transition phase of where I'm going, but what comes to mind now is I need a bit of first aid. It's like sometimes I wake up and I'm already I've never had this before, with this anxious pit in my stomach, a feeling of anxiety.
Okay. So we are going to do, it's a day for self-inquiry. So oops, let me get my spelling right. And this often comes to satsang. So, and as we dive in, just Denise and Edwina and Laura Lee, like you saw with Linda, right? She needed to bop off. So if you need to leave, just please, at any time, we'll keep going here, but you can use the chat and just say goodbye or stick around, right? Please self-manage what works for you. I'm just kind of going to zero in here on Jeanette and ask those of you, stay if you want to stay and hold space, or if you need to leave, please do what you need to do. And thank you for coming if you do leave. Okay, so anxiety, you are welcome here. And whoever is here remaining in the container, Jeanette, is backup for you, right? So we're all going to meet anxiety. And just agree that you don't like it.
Definitely don't
Most of us don't. So
I can usually work my way through it through the spiritual techniques I have, and also I reframe things. But this is like it's something's triggered. Okay. Yep. So I'm just getting this. And by the way, with graphics, you're not going to see a whole lot often in Edwina. There's other processes I do that might have more in terms of actual drawing. But there's so much happening that I often don't get a whole lot of icons in. So we'll see. So anxiety, you don't like it. You usually work my way through it. And that's spiritual tools. But this one, you said like there's a trigger or something going on. Did I get that right, Jeanette? Yes.
Okay. So before we move on to the trigger, which is looming there, let's just spend a moment to say a thank you about your usual, and probably even through this, we'll get there too, right? So this you do like. There's a big old thank you to working your way through it and having spiritual tools. And that you normally are capable of doing that. So before we move on, let's just have some gratitude for that, for the normalness. Thank you, my spiritual tools. Thank you that I do usually naturally work my way through this, that I'm someone who's familiar with processing terrain and moving myself along to the next stage of things. However, boom, you hit this trigger. So now we just go, oh, hello. There you are, right? It's boom, it's right here. And we're here as backup and just come into whatever the heck this trigger is. We're just meeting it because it's already here. So we might as well meet it instead of doing all the interesting things people do when triggers are here, right? So just see what happens. There's no wrong answer. What happens when you meet this trigger as we're here by your side?
Well, I have a physical response. My stomach is like clenched and I feel sick.
Okay, so it's a big trigger. Yeah. So I will do a little drawing here because we got a stomach. And so I want to say hello to the stomach. And even though it doesn't feel very good with this clench and feel a little sick, it's here. So we're just going to kind of meet it. And sometimes it gets a little worse before it gets better, right? So sometimes people do upchuck in satsang or burp or whatever, right? As the body moves things. Yeah. So I'm completely okay with that. You might not like it because it's going through your system, or other people might be a little shocked if it happens, if they're not used to processing. I know Edwina is. So hello, clench and sick. You're welcome here. Probably a normal reaction, right? When you hit a trigger that has a lot of stuff to it that we might not even understand what it's about right now. So just see what happens instead of doing whatever your usual thing is, that you actually meet this sickness and clench for a second at least. Try a gift too, because you're not going to gift it you, which is sometimes the fear, but try a handful of flowers or something, or whatever is authentic for you that you would offer as a gift to this sickness and clench going on in the stomach.
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay, well, you said mine, so we got to go there. I have a headless body here, so now I have to draw the head.
I have to tell a childish voice that came and says, you don't deserve it because you haven't fixed it.
You don't deserve it because why?
Because I haven't fixed it. I don't know. That's really silly.
Sorry,
but...
the audio's cutting out a little bit, so I missed an important word.
Oh, that I don't deserve the gift because I haven't fixed the problem yet. Or
okay. Okay. Now that's the word I was missing, was fix. Okay. So we know ultimately it's bogus, but we got to get the bogus down. So you don't deserve it. So here it is again, just like Linda brought, right? She had to meet the undeserving and something very close to that too. So don't deserve it. And the fix is, there's those hands again. There's that doer. So let's get the doer in here, right? Those hands. You haven't fixed it.
There's some parallel things going on because work is in meltdown to the point where the board, the history with the board, that we're going to have to do some planning. We're running out of money, and at last they're listening to me. So that's going on. They're suddenly waking up to the fact that they have to do something because JCMA might just end. So there's decisions around, do I go now? Because I don't have the energy to rebuild JCMA anymore. So there's decisions around leaving and jumping off a cliff and just with no plan in place. The other one is there's a lot going on at home at the moment with my family. So I feel I'm not, that fix it word is because my family, I fix things for my family, even though they're in the UK. And we've just had a family tragedy. My not directly my family, but my cousin's son had an accident.
Hmm.
And he's out of intensive care, but his girlfriend died.
Oh gosh. Oh.
And so it's not directly mine, but it's still.
Let's just take for the woman who lost her life. If you are okay saying the name, you can say the name, or we can just her essence, right? Just like, oh, so sorry.
Brian, he was, she was in her early 20s.
Oh,
And Sam
the
is
loss. Yeah.
such a lovely boy. It was in thick fog, so we're assuming it was. Anyway, it's just his mother, Amanda, is just devastated. But he's out of
the young
intensive care.
girl, her son, the son, his mother, the devastation. So just, of course, right? Of course, that's got your attention. And you're saying you tend to be like a lot of us with the process types, right? The ones that people turn to in the family, if I'm hearing you right.
Yeah, well, I processed mum last night because I got home from a workshop and I was on the phone to her for an hour and a half, so I didn't go to bed till midnight. So it's like I felt I needed to be there for her.
Okay, so a lot's come out. So just so you can see it all, we're just going to meet it all. So very quickly.
And my sister's got health issues and I'm trying to solve that from here. I'm ringing people to help her. So I feel that's probably why I'm scattered.
Yeah. Okay, let's just get it down. So family accident, sister's health. And then scattered. Because all these things are piling in for the scattered. Yay to the board listening finally, but maybe a little too late. And no thank you to the meltdown. That always sucks with the board. And then of course, the mind is trying to figure this stuff all out. Do I stay? Do I go? It's like, I don't want to stay because I don't want to rebuild this organization. And let's just do a no thank you to the jumping off the cliff. Not necessary, right? Not a good idea to jump off a cliff. Now, yes, I often say things with humor, but this is really serious. You want to say no, not necessary. You really want to, you're not going to do it because you're like, got this look on your face. So there's something that actually wants to run off a cliff. Interesting.
Well, when I emigrated to Australia, I always use that terminology. I had no idea what I was doing. I jumped off a cliff. So when I make big decisions, sometimes I just don't literally jump off a cliff. It's just, I just don't think about the consequences because if you did, you wouldn't do it.
Okay. So that's interesting. So it's just kind of a little test, right? I'm watching your face and your energy and stuff. And it's not typically what somebody would say. So most people would typically jump off a cliff. It would be a no, thank you. But actually you're telling me, well, I jumped off one before and it was kind of fun. It actually all came together in this new life, right? In a different country and everything. So now you're actually considering the reverse journey of going back to the UK. So this is kind of like a good old question mark. And what is what's the positive aspects of this so-called jumping off a cliff?
It's just, I suppose, rest because I'm trying to work things out all the time. There's so many moving parts.
Oh, because it would get you away from all this stuff. Yeah. So it's kind of escape.
Because I'm applying for jobs and on purpose, and the course is incredibly helpful, useful, but it's intense processing because I have a lot of, I've had this job for 9 years. I've worked for myself, so I don't fit into any mold when you apply for jobs. It's very difficult. So there's two aspects. One is it's almost like, am I ever going to be employed again? And number two is it's bringing up deep, intense look at your skills, and very vulnerable when people are reading it. So it's a very vulnerable space because you have to put forward what you think your strengths are, and then other people are viewing it. And it's just a process. It's not personal, but it's very uncomfortable because you know what you're good at, and you have to try and find ways of explaining why you're good at what you do. So it's quite intense.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And just like you heard with Angelina going through my kit, right? That she's tired and it is intense, and she's been doing it in a short period of time. So you've been doing the same thing over in this other program. So it's uncomfortable. Just agree with that. Like this, and also growth, right? Growth also comes with discomfort. So out of this scattering is actually now this program or this structure that you've brought to yourself to help with that kind of scattered thing going on. But unfortunately, it's darn vulnerable. So just meeting the vulnerability for a second.
Don't like it.
Because the head and the doer aren't going to like that one bit. And the one who's all in control, right? So being in these neutral zones are very uncomfortable. So just awe. And that thing about poking through your skills and laying them all out for people to kind of analyze and give you their feedback on, that is a huge act of vulnerability. So just spend a little moment with that part or parts of you that are squirming a little bit through that process. Especially when you be a executive director and you've hold these significant positions, to bring yourself into this kind of cauldron, right? And break that all down and be at kind of the mercy of everybody else in the group, that's quite a humbling act that you're in the midst of. Real humility. So appreciating the parts that are doing this, and also appreciating the parts that do not like it one bit and want to have this all figured out and get the heck away from that discomfort.
And also there's a toll because of the values of some of the behaviors, especially the president, and no one's calling it out. So I think I have a very high tolerance for bad behavior, mainly because you bring people together in dialogue, you get different behaviors, but this is just purely someone whose values are so out of alignment with and it's been not being able to speak about it, I think, and the board not taking responsibility for doing something about it.
Yeah, so just agreeing that there's ethics and values involved, and this is out of alignment with your own values, and that there's a big old I don't like it, understandably. Rubs you the wrong way. It's not your values. It's not how you would care for it to be, and probably a wise place to not be aligned with, right? If it's not a fit for your values. So just agreeing you don't like that. And you also don't like the nobody else calling it out, right? You've been in a process of trying to call attention to this for a long time. And it's hard when you're the only one who's brave enough or whatever enough, to do it. And that points to values and integrity. So yay to the one inside who has values and has integrity. And, not so great that you stick around a place like that for a long time, right? That you say you put up with bad behavior. That's going to be that codependent stuff. No, thank you. Probably some early learned behavior there. Come by it honestly. And, no time like the present to stop some of that old patterns and conditioning. So it's actually really good news that it's uncomfortable, right? And that you don't fit there and you're not aligned there anymore because you're not aligned to dysfunction.
Well, I think you said it earlier, because I don't have many friends left, because when Ian died, we lost a lot of friends, and lockdown and all sorts of other reasons, and then some really very painful fallouts of personal friendships, which I've chosen not to re-engage with. And I realize it was a good thing, but it's quite painful.
Agree with that. Yeah, there's kind of two sides to this. I mean, if you are contemplating a move, not having a whole bunch of friends to act as a pull or an anchor for you to stay is kind of useful, right? But the painfulness of how it came down to not having a lot of friends is tough. So yeah, we don't like it. That was hard. No, thank you. But there's also a bit of a, oh, good. In terms of, if you did have a whole bunch of friends, you probably wouldn't be contemplating going anywhere. Still might not be, who knows if it's still the right place for you to leave, right? You can always build friends wherever you are. So if a bunch, like we've already spoken about in the container, right? If a bunch have fallen away, you're in that neutral zone, more can be built wherever you are, whether you stay here or whether you go.
And what's coming up now is I've still got very strong visceral connection to this house,
Mm.
even though it's falling around my ears, and it's a physical, well, Ian, I think it's all still not letting that go.
Sure. It's one of your connections to him now that he's gone. So let's go to this, the strong connection to the house, and just spend a moment with the honesty of that. Even if it is falling apart around you, as you say, right? That there's a deep affinity, a deep affection, even if the mind doesn't fully understand, the heart sure does, to this house.
I think that's what it is. The mind is logical to everyone, but the heart says something different.
Exactly. So let's get the heart in here, right? So we've already welcomed the mind, but here's the heart. Hello, heart. And you're right, heart isn't necessarily logical. It's illogical even to have this strong connection to a house that's falling apart. Just welcoming the illogicalness of that. What do you know? Despite all that, it's still there. And maybe just a little kindness, a little awe to that, because it is connected to Ian. As complicated as that whole relationship is, and the ramifications afterwards and how that all played out, what do you know? You're still have this sweetness to this house. And maybe even a thank you to the house, because it has housed you through all of this.
Well, I do have that affinity to it, and the trees and the space and where it is, its unique location. And that's part of letting go of that too.
Well, and even before you go to letting go, just make communion with that and just agree. It's a unique location. And to those trees, I really relate to that because I'm surrounded by trees too. And there are, their personalities onto themselves, and their energetic is so helpful. So I'm probably not drawing trees as they look in Australia, but just agreeing like, hello, trees, love you. Thank you for being part of what has cocooned me or has embraced me, that has given me connection during this super hard time in my life. I appreciate you. You're even, in fact, a little hard to leave, if I was to leave. What happens is you maybe even bow or honor those trees. Do you get anything back from them?
Well, I just realised I'm hiding as well because you can't see into my house from anywhere.
Ah, so they've provided protection.
Well,
So
obviously
thank them.
during COVID, I was housebound, and then with my operation, I couldn't walk, and then I've had COVID. So I've been stuck here. Even so, the house has just helped me while I've healed.
Yes. And it's been this kind of hidden oasis or something too, right? It's really held you, kept you safe. As much as there's this stuck feeling, there's also this appreciation. Just see as you continue to thank it, and just say how you've really appreciated how they've kept you hidden from view and they've helped in your healing process. Just thanking them. So they know that they've been recognized, that you see them and appreciate them and feel them, and how deeply grateful you are. I feel my own heart just connecting with them and just appreciating the trees around me that do the same thing in some ways. People who are connected, subtle energy wise, or have these sensitivities, trees are often our friends, right? And sometimes the mind hasn't realized that, but the mind's even coming to understand this as we unpack this a little bit. It's not silly at all to have an attachment to a house and have attachment to trees, especially when there haven't been a lot of people there to support you. So these beings, if you will, the house is a being, the trees are a being, they have consciousness. These beings have been here for you. Thank goodness.
I think that's what I realised too, because I was traumatized in hospital, and I realised I've only just started to come back into my body. It's nearly 6 months. And I know you helped do that with me, one process, but it's taken a long time to feel embodied again because, and the pain as well. But
yeah, that you wouldn't want to come into body. So just agreeing, feeling embodied again. Even if it's a back and forth process or 2 steps forward, 1 step back, now you're feeling more embodied. So that's something. Yes, please. Thank you. Nice to feel more embodied again. Thank you for the out of body when the pain in the body was too great. That's a wonderful coping mechanism. Thank goodness we have that. And just inviting, because it's already been here in other inquiries, so it's easier to access again. Come on in, keep embodying, keep coming back to body. Hello, body. There might be yeah buts to it. Let's see what it is, but it's probably not the pain anymore. It might be something else. Because you might actually be taking that body somewhere else, right? So as you become more embodied with it and saying your appreciations and your respect to the environment, hey, body, we may or may not take us somewhere else, somewhere different. What do you notice from your body?
The energy's waking up inside, that it's been because also now I've got over my illnesses. I've wasted a year. I've now still got to face clearing and letting go of all of our possessions because And I've even got JCMA's possessions because I had to close the office, so everything for JCMA's here as well. So I've now got another load of stuff.
Yeah.
Realize I've just put more clutter on top of clutter, and I just did it without thinking. But I've got all the history for JCMA, so I've got all that. Must have an energetic too. I've just realized.
Yeah, for sure it does. And it's not yours, it's the board, right? Or it's those other people. So all of that would be the natural caretakers of it now, it would seem. Or if you do choose to move. But anyway, doesn't matter. Just agree that yes, please, to the energy waking up. And just agree that it is kind of some delayed to-dos that have happened, right? Because life has a way of having its own things occur, right? Its own wisdom or unfoldment anyway, that can wreck our own best laid plans. So thank goodness now the body you're coming back into your body and your energy is waking up. But of course, what's around you is clearing and letting go.
So I said, I'd rather be little, and I don't have to look at it now. I have to see it.
Dang it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just agreeing. Like it's a task, right? Not only is it the task for clearing the belongings connected to your husband and his departure, but now there's this extra task in here with all the stuff from the organization. So most people would be like, huh, bummer. That's a big some stuff to work through. Good thing your body's feeling better and you got more energy. But any kind of like, I'd rather ignore it. I'd rather sidestep it. I'd rather whatever. That's natural, right? Most of us do interesting things, quote unquote, interesting things when we're presented with a body of tasks to do. Going through this process is definitely a process. And you've got clutter on top of clutter. So no doubt about it. It's got layers to it.
Also, I have a habitual pattern of keeping everything as well. That's part of, that's a pattern I probably I'm feeling now I'm being told to look at, that I keep everything. I keep copies of everything and I think I need it. So maybe I need to question that, and that will help me let go.
Yeah. So there's some work there. And maybe also a vow of respect to the patterns and conditioning, because that probably comes from something that made sense back then. I don't know if you come from people with depression background and stuff, but that's one of the common things that can happen. Or if something happened earlier, right, where a lot of stuff was taken away from you, you don't want that to happen, so you keep everything around. I don't know what the particulars are for you, but I can guarantee if you have this pattern, there's a reason for it. You probably outgrown that reason, but it probably started out with love, right? It was a protection. It's a protector. So time to look at that old protection, that old pattern, appreciate it, and then see what you can negotiate now. It's got some skills and abilities in there. You just want to use it in a different way.
It's just occurred to me when I arrived in Australia 30 years ago, I only had a suitcase.
Yeah. There's more of that appeal of jumping off the cliff. Simplification. Breath of fresh air. Ooh. Leave all the clutter behind. Travel with a suitcase. How exciting. Start over. Just seeing how that one hits the field, right? Anything you notice, it looks like it's going in, the eyes are blinking. So there's, whoa, computing's happening.
Yeah, it's like because of that word patterning in history, it's just rewiring, something's happening.
Agree with that. Rewiring, yes, please. It's definitely going to take some rewiring. And it can just happen, just like what's happening right now. We've seen a lot of rewiring in this satsang. It's quite amazing how it can happen. So just, yes, please, rewiring, you are welcome here. Taking those old patterns, bringing them up to date, renegotiating, letting them know how old I am now. How can we work together? How can we use these abilities, but use them towards a new vision, a new chapter of our life? No waste. All good. Renegotiate. Rewiring, you are welcome. Good idea.
It's coming to my hands now.
Yeah. What do you notice in the hands?
It's like throwing it off.
Yay. Hey, good idea. Throwing it off. Yeah. Yeah. So the doer is like letting it go, letting it go.
I've got
Even
boxes
the stuff, letting it go.
We've got boxes we brought from Sydney years ago. I've never even opened them, and I'm thinking, why am I keeping them? I don't even know.
Let them go. Just agreeing with the hands and its natural flicking off that it's doing. It's leading the way, right? It's already wanting to do it. Let it go, let it go. Freedom in that.
It's also about leadership as well. I've been looking at different styles because I've had to articulate what sort of leader I am, because I don't really know, I just do. It's about this sort of leadership and self-leadership, the style. I don't know what the answer to that is, but it's coming through. So I keep researching it. What is my leadership style? And even like a meeting with a particular person tomorrow, I'm trying to change the way I do it.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't have.
That. Yes, please. There's a longing in there. This newness, this freshness, this rewiring. Yes, please. Doesn't mean we always have to stay the way we are. Unfold, like Teresa was getting to, right? The growth. I'm just going to do our path so we can see our path through this. Started here, we went here, we went here, we went here, out of alignment, here, 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 and now we're coming to this. So let's just invite this rewiring that's happening, and this new leadership style is part of this rewiring. And the flicking of the hands wants to get in on it too, right? Letting go of that stuff. Just a little psst to it, like, come on in, rewiring. It's already here, but you're just inviting it to come on in and stretch out, root down a little, see how it moves. If it wants to come more fully into you, talking about embodying this rewiring in you, in the head, in the heart, in the belly, in the hands. You're welcome. Even if the head can't figure it all out, this kind of quantum rewiring can happen. It has an intelligence and wisdom all of its own. And like Angelina with her transition, same with yours. A lot of this stuff can come to rest, and then it can get reapplied, these skills and abilities, in a new way. When they like that, just check with them to see if those aspects of you can be reutilized in new ways. You're thanking them for their service to date. It's not like you're trying to completely get rid of the physical stuff, maybe, but inside, it's like, hey, ready for an upgrade? Ready to rewire? They're probably ready. Check to see.
Yeah, I get a yes to that. And also I'm freezing cold. When old stuff moves, I feel very cold.
Yeah. So it's affirming that something's happening. Rewiring is happening right now. And you're getting your signs when that coldness comes in. That's often a sign with that subtle energy world too, right? It feels a little colder. There's a shift in there. Yes, please. Good idea. go gentle on me because I'm still in process, you can say to it, right? So you're still in a mourning process. You're still in a healing process. You're still in an extraction process going on from the board and the work. So there's a lot happening, but hey, rewiring, you're welcome here. Let's work together. And if there are no yeah buts, then that's your work, is to just calibrate to that. If there's yeah buts, let me know. We'll go there. But if there's not, just feel into that. You're right here. That's the new thing to feel into that you've been able to access. Keep letting go. Yay. Keep recalibrating. Keep rewiring. Yes, please. Good job. And maybe even rewiring is so important, somehow it finds its way into the title of this inquiry. What's the gist here? What have you come to? What's an appropriate title?
Well, I keep focusing on his growth and evolving, but I don't like the word transformation. But maybe if I use rewiring.
Yeah.
Because even though I want, in fact, I read it in an article this morning that the word transformation, if you use it with people, they don't always know what that means. It's a buzzword, transformation.
Sure.
But maybe it does mean something, but or maybe there's fear around transforming. I don't know.
Well, just agree that you're kind of digging rewiring, and that's certainly what's come as we've step by step met it, right? That this rewiring. So is it rewiring you are welcome here, or rewiring is happening? Yes to rewiring. I don't know what the phraseology is, but it really seems that rewiring is what we're coming to. Seems like an appropriate word to work into the title. Ask rewiring, hey, how do we articulate you?
Evolving is a word, but I can't make it into a headline. It's my marketing coming out. I can't make the headline.
That's okay.
But maybe just rewiring.
I think that's exactly it. Exactly. Like you don't have to have the pithy statement, right? And it's exactly what it's come down to. So let's just agree. Hello, rewiring. You are welcome here.
That's fine. That's really good. That nails it. Because anything else shifts it.
Yeah.
And it just is what it is.
Yeah. And nice to meet you, right? You're coming into understanding with it. So that's your homework. Continue to get acquainted with rewiring. Hello, you're welcome here. Ooh. Oh, what's happening? How are you rewiring me? Oh, it's happening. Look at this.
Thank you for your generosity and the time. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thanks
That's
for
really
coming when I set the Australia times.
Yeah. No, wait, yippee, Australia time.
Yeah, I try to throw them in every once in a while. So I'm glad when you spot them. Yeah.
That feels
Good
very
to see you.
good.
All the best with the rewiring. Lots of love to the whole process. I see you poking through, Laura Lee, through your backdrop. Anything you want to say? Or
yeah, it's really interesting.
yeah,
It's kind of like the things that I've been envisioning for about 20 years or so. You know, using the visuals as as emotional tools. Well, actually longer, like since I'm a young teenager, I've been using visuals as like really powerful tools.
Yes, please to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, how do you, I didn't know you knew Rhoda.
Oh, yes. You would have heard. I know her very well. Yeah. How did Rhoda and I have a mutual friend who came through my fundamentals of working visually. She's also a caricature artist. And she told her about, the visual skills and the graphic recording stuff that I teach. Rhoda at one time, because of her wonderful skills, was in some sort of conference center where the next room were graphic recorders, right? So she didn't really know that this whole niche existed.
Mm-hmm.
And she did a little bit of that work. So at one time she was considering learning more about it. She didn't end up doing my course and didn't end up doing a lot of graphic recording, but I ended up finding out about her. So I started seeing her Facebook, and she offered a retreat in San Miguel.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went, I think it was in 2018, I think. I went and did one of her drawing retreats in San Miguel, loved it, and said, hey, I think people in my network would love to do this. So the next year I brought a whole bunch of people with me. And so we did a in-person retreat for a week. We had done an online course in between, the Fast and Loose sketching. And then we offered in that fall of 2019, a week long in San Miguel with Rhoda. And unfortunately, we were going to do another one in Easter of 2020, I think it was, when the pandemic was hitting, right, in February.
Yeah.
So that one got nixed. And I think we've done a couple of that now exist as kits. We did a couple more online courses during COVID. I was hoping to do in the fall, a San Miguel retreat with her again, but I'm just feeling a little iffy with air travel at the moment. And then the potential financial reset that the world might be meeting here. So I don't really have the confidence to organize. It's a lot of effort to organize retreats only to have them canceled. So,
Right. Oh, yeah.
So looks like we won't do one in the fall, but Rhoda will probably be, depending on what's happening there in the fall, doing her own there as well. So that's how I know Rhoda. Yeah. And yourself, Rhoda? Yeah.
I know Rhoda through Caricature.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know, well, in some way or another, I know pretty much all the caricaturists.
That's your world?
Yeah. And I was interested in graphic recording as well.
Yep.
And still not sure if that's something I want to do.
So you're exploring it just like Rhoda. It's a natural with their caricature skills. Yeah. Although it comes with the whole corporate world and everything.
Yeah. Well, we've done a lot of corporate work,
Cool.
private work, corporate work, a lot. In fact, maybe even more.
Oh, yeah. Then you know what it's about. And obviously you can handle that. So a lot of artists don't like it, understandably. So, but if you're okay with being in that environment, then that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems to overlap with everything. Like, this emotional work, the mind work, the left and right brain with conferences, I don't know, the expression. It's all like just different colors on this on this personal canvas.
Yep. Nice way to put it. Yeah.
Was the other caricaturist doing the graphic recording also?
Yes. She was also in a process of a lot of family stuff happening. So while she was in the midst of handling the family stuff, she was developing a knowledge about the graphic recording. And I'm not really sure if she ended up manifesting that or not. So, but I know she's pointed several people to me in the training. So found it helpful nonetheless. And I think if I remember right, she did shift it to the program I was talking about with Angelina that helps people in transition because she was in a transition. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm going to look at the courses and just see if it's something that, works with something and could go on into the future.
Yeah, happy to do an exploratory chat too if you want to have some private time. I do free 30-minute exploratories. So hear a little more about your situation. Probably it's just validation, right? It sounds like you already have all those skills. So it's more about another person doing similar things, right? To just validate, like, yeah, totally can be done. How great that you have the same combination, the emotional processing and the caricature and the business skills. So that's kind of my same combo. So
I think
served me well.
I think one of the courses that you have is about listening and being able to take that information.
Listening is in the fundamentals course. I don't have a specific one on listening. Actually watching, probably like what you did today. There's a whole lot of listening and then synthesizing, right? I'm doing a particular process today. We haven't seen much variety beyond self-inquiry, which is super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's a big thing when you're doing this work, especially because it's very different from caricature, right? Because with caricature, you're drawing the person and you're not necessarily also drawing out the thoughts, right? And the processing, the words that are being spoken. Maybe you've already got that in your work, but the left brain, right? To couple them. So it's both. Back to your point about left brain and right brain. That's been my experience with the GRGF, graphic recording, graphic facilitation world. Most people think of it as right brained, but for me, that's left brain because of the cognitive, right? Because it's not just art. It's being coupled with the cognitive, and often it's also coupled with message, right? So the organization,
right,
very, very particular about what message they're wanting to get across, right? And some of that can even be advertising or even propaganda, right? So it's what is the client wanting to do through the medium, and that can vary greatly, and that also has some ethics and value stuff attached to it too. Yeah.
And I guess you could also choose what kind of clientele you like to work with most. You can use, I've heard people doing a lot of educational kind of work.
Yeah, for sure. And different now, this work, it's been amazing that people have come. It's been about 3 years since I've run a fundamentals, which is really unusual for me because I ran them 2 or 3 times a year for like 20 years. And each year when people came, particularly once a year, I ran them in person here in Victoria, British Columbia, where I am. And you'd see as this industry, if you will, the GRGF work, as new groups of people were finding out about it. So new industries, new different subject matters, and the variety who's in the room, whether they're working with groups or they're working with individuals, right? It's really amazing. The base skills can be applied to so many different things, and they're useful. So that's why it's lasted so long, and it's kind of spread, across the world and into these different industries and thought, subject matter areas. Not for everything. There's some things where it doesn't suit, but most things it does. So then within that, you can find, the place that suits and where is the ethics match and, the integrity match, because there's certainly a lot of places it's being used. Or can be, if it's not already being applied, then you can be pioneering and taking it into places.
Is this being recorded, Christina? Oh, this is going on YouTube, this part?
We're still recording. Yep.
Oh, okay. It's so interesting. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
To be continued. Yeah, I agree. Totally interesting. I love the process work too, because as long as I'm physically able to do things, and mentally, of course, too, I guess, emotionally, all of it. But you just get wiser and wiser, just get more useful. So
Right.
I have found is, I started in this in my mid-20s, right? Mid-50s now. And different mentors of mine, as they've segued out 20, 25 years older than me, just seeing the longevity in it and all the shifts that I've had within it, move from the graphic recorder into the facilitation work, and then now taking it into the personal work and the spectrum of things that happen, right? From more traditional coaching now into what's happening here in the satsangs and the consciousness work. So I'm super appreciative of it because it allows me to continue to evolve and still use the same base skills, but in lots of different ways with lots of different populations of people. Also the variety. COVID's taken care of some of the not being able to have them in person so much and the more of the facilitation work, which I miss, but thank goodness I was already working online. And then what's happened during the pandemic is now, now that this was number 59, right? So much has unfolded. This started as actually repurposing some support groups I already had going. I had a working visually E community and a shifted E community, and I collapsed the two together. And the names keep changing, but now, it's the public visual satsang. So consciousness keeps moving through me, through these hands, right? And through the hardware and the software of using these skills in the things that, I like, right? So I've been able to just continue to unfold as my affinity to different things change. So far, so good.
Are people still doing a lot of things through Zoom, a lot of facilitation, or has that changed now to going back?
Yes, and I think hybrid is here from here on in, right? So, and there's kind of pent up desire too to be in person and new appreciation of it. Having had that taken away from us for so long. So I hear and see kind of everything. So it depends on where people are and what the culture is that they're in about where it's at with the distance or in person. So I see everything. There's still online happening. There's still in person happening. There's still half and half. That's the difference, I think, is the hybrid, right? Which is, I find, the hardest, where you have people in person and you have some people by distance, right? So to manage those two, but a lot's emerging. A lot of technology is merging. A lot of colleagues now are having to wrestle with that. So it's not just one person figuring these things out. I was early in being online, so I really had that as a differentiator. I don't have that differentiator any longer. But what came with it was so many other minds and aptitudes, right? So many gifted colleagues in this field and other fields who are like cracking the nut on how to work online and then how to work in these hybrid. So I think it's quite exciting, the advances that are happening within reason too, because I certainly don't like being strapped to a computer all the time. Tough on the body.
Yeah, it's hard on your eyes.
Yep, part of the body. My whole lower body, oh my goodness, right? All those muscles have atrophied. Yeah. Coincides with my aging process and menopause. Great timing, thanks. Yeah.
I guess you could actually have a standing computer or a standing table.
Yeah.
Would help.
Yeah, I have this one too. Now I have so much equipment strapped to it that's a little dicey to move it up and down, but I need to get more back to that fluidity because it certainly helps. Yeah. Is this the first one you came to?
Yeah. I was going to come to some others and the timing didn't work out.
Yeah. I thought it was the first time I saw you here, so welcome.
Yeah.
Nice to have you.
Thank you. And most people have come a number of times, yeah.
Yeah. There are a few ones who are here for the first time, like you two. Yeah. Denise and Jeanette have been here a lot, so they're familiar with this process and pop in and co-create. But yeah, it's that's also fun because each one's different. We never know what's going to happen or who's going to come, and it's usually a blend of people who've been here before and people who are brand new. So welcome.
Thanks. All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So I think I'll go. I think it's like 3.5 hours now.
It's been going a while. Yeah, sometimes they're a marathon. I think the most has been 4, so we're giving that a run for its money here. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll jump out and say bye now.
Okay, Jeanette. Bye.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for my rewiring.
You're welcome. Yay, I'll send you the map.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Take good care. Bye. Denise, do you want to hang around? And I can turn off the recording if you prefer.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Okay, let me take it. Bye all, if anybody's watched this long.